Young woman leaves boyfriend for not earning or spending enough on lavish lifestyle, now regrets it, and wants him back after unfulfilling luxury romance. What's up everyone? Welcome back to Alpha Talk. Today we're diving into an article. It's titled, "I left my boyfriend because of Twitter standards he couldn't afford 5-star holidays." And honestly guys, this whole thing, well, it's something. It's about a young woman, I'm guessing, who broke up with her boyfriend because he couldn't provide the lifestyle she felt entitled to. Think 5-star restaurants, fancy hotels, vacations, the whole 9 yards. Things she was seeing other women getting on social media. This article comes from a South African newspaper or website, doesn't really matter where it's from. The story was sent to me anonymously, but I'm telling you, no matter where you are in the world, you'll see the same patterns. The point of this video, aside from the story itself, is to show you something crucial. Women across the globe are fundamentally the same in terms of what influences and motivates them. Their responses to certain things, the stereotypes that apply, they cross borders, cultures, religions, and socioeconomic scales. And the same goes for us men. That's why the stories I cover and the articles I analyze resonate, no matter who you are or where you live. You'll see it with this particular article. The guy simply wasn't making the kind of money she wanted. He wasn't giving her the things she felt entitled to, the classic princess complex. You'll see what ultimately happens. The story starts with a quick recap. Thandi, that's her name, thought Bonga, his name, was the love of her life. They met at the end of their college years and shared every milestone. From applying to the same university and getting accepted, to starting their first jobs in the same month, they had their lives planned out. They knew they would end up getting married and living the happily ever after life. Yeah, that's never easy. But everything changed when Thandi started earning her own money and got promoted to a junior manager role. She earned way more than him. I've told you guys how this plays out, time and time again. I've covered stories where women start making more money than their guy, get a higher-up job, and, all of a sudden, they start seeing him in a different light. Why? Because more times than I can count, it's all about status. They want a guy they can look up to. Not just someone who is a rock, strong for them, a leader, but also someone who is higher up the ladder than them, someone they perceive as a prize. If they get a better job, and they're making a lot more money than the guy, a lot of women, especially here in the West, thanks to the effortless movement and magazines like Cosmopolitan putting ideas in their heads, start thinking, hey, I can do better. I deserve better. I should have a guy who's even more successful. And this happens even when the guy was perfectly fine, perfectly good, with the money he was making and the lifestyle he had before. Even in a couple where the woman makes more money, the dynamic will shift. Believe me, that's not always just the guys who have an issue. Some guys do feel threatened, and you might feel like less of a man, knowing things will change. But in these stories, it's often her that changes. She doesn't treat the guy the same. She doesn't see him the same as she did before he was making more than her. Here is Thandi's story, as told to Wanda Lee Gemma. Interesting names. When I started making more money than my boyfriend, I felt like a Miss Independent who needed a man who was on par with her. I started viewing Bonga differently because he couldn't afford certain things. When I would go out with my colleagues and friends, we'd get attention at restaurants and clubs, and other guys would settle our bills. This made me question my relationship. So, the second she started making more money, she started seeing him differently. And of course, because she's young, she's out with friends. She goes to restaurants, bars, and clubs, and these so-called beta male types, the ones whose only way to get a girl is to throw money at them, were paying for her bills, drinks, and food. She thinks she's a princess. We are always told that the man is the provider in a relationship, and society makes it seem like your man isn't worthy if he doesn't settle the bill or take you on vacations. Unfortunately, societal pressures and Twitter pressure got to me. It's not her fault. She wasn't being a superficial jerk. Oh no, it's society's fault. It's Twitter's fault. They made me do it. They made me break up with this great guy because they told me to. Don't blame me, right? You know the old joke about women and accountability. A day doesn't pass where phrases like "Indada mayabi namali," a man must have money, are not discussed on Twitter. Sayings like, "What's the point of dating a broke man?" or "Rather love yourself, sis. You shouldn't be paying for that dinner bill," got to me. And this is happening on the other side of the world, guys. It's the same, whether it's here in the West or on the other side of the planet, women are women, they respond to the same stimuli. These standards, especially those that are prevalent on Twitter, affected my relationship, and I started to view my boyfriend differently. So this boyfriend had been a great guy, and they thought they were going to live happily ever after. You know, the typical BS from movies and TV. Everything was cool until she started making more money and saw him differently. She was being influenced by social media and society saying, hey, you deserve all this and he should pay and blah blah blah. Now wait till you see what happens next. I never voiced my concerns to Bonga because it would be insensitive. He has the black tax and I don't. He earns less than me, and there are certain things he can't afford. Things took a turn in their relationship when she was earning far more. I wanted to go on international vacations, or even local 5-star vacations. And besides Bonga not being able to afford them, he just wasn't even interested. I wanted to have cute date nights where he could dress up and go to fancy restaurants so I could post them on social media. This generation, the attention and validation generation, am I right? She didn't want to go on cute date nights and go to fancy restaurants because she wanted to have a good time with him. No, her issue was that she wanted to do that so she could take pictures of it and post them on social media for everyone else to see her living this lifestyle. This is the younger generation growing up. They're going to be this way when they get older. I was yearning for cute surprises, for the cost of my tires to be taken care of, for him to take my car to the car wash and bring it back with a full tank of gas. Bonga didn't do any of these things, and she never brought it up. She really thinks she's a princess. If you're feeling fearful about dating and wondering if it's worth it, I've got a second here. I started meeting men who were always willing to do these things for me in a heartbeat. At first, I wouldn't entertain them, but as time progressed, I discovered how accessible they were. Translation: male orbiters. Guys who'd be more than happy to do anything for her to get her attention and hopefully have a chance with her. And of course, she'd be more than happy to take these guys up on their offers. I thought it was harmless fun, but it made me compare Bonga to them, which was quite unfair. I decided to break up with him because he wasn't offering me what I wanted, and I didn't want to continue comparing him to other men. It was also a way of setting myself free. What a load of crap. What it really was is I'm making more money, and I want somebody higher up who does better than me so I can look up to them. I want to be treated like a princess. I deserve all these things because society, social media, and magazines have told me I deserve all these things. So I'm going to ditch this really good guy who obviously loves me and treats me well so I can have other guys who can buy me things and do things for me and all that. That's the mentality. When I broke up with him, he was shocked and taken aback. He told me that I was making the biggest mistake of my life. Well, she probably was, because this guy was a good guy. That day she broke up with him was probably the best day of his life because he got rid of her. When I was single, I entertained these men for a while, but then settled down with one. He was nice, and we went on vacations together. He would send me money spontaneously, and we'd go to the fanciest restaurants for dinner. I was loving the lifestyle, but I was not fulfilled. There was something missing. I missed the companionship Bonga and I had. I missed our friendship and how vulnerable I was with him, and how he loved me for me. So now she broke up with the guy. She's on to somebody else who makes more money, is throwing money at her and taking her on vacations. And, surprise, she's feeling unfulfilled because she doesn't have the other thing she had with the first guy. Poor her. Waterworks all around, right? Now she's missing the guy she kicked to the curb for guys who'd throw money at her, making money, treating her like a queen. Too bad, make your bed and you lie in it. This new relationship was all good materially, but not emotionally. We just didn't connect on the level that I wanted to, and I started to regret my decision. Unfortunately, I'm single again and have lost the love of my life because I was envying people on social media. What glitters isn't always gold. So there you have it. It's a quick story, guys, but it shows you, like I said, women are women all around the world. It doesn't matter where they are, their religion, their culture, whatever. They respond to the same things. And being superficial doesn't mean that all women are like this. No, but a lot are. And quite honestly, the guy she kicked to the curb because he wasn't making enough money or showering her with gifts and fancy dinners, which she just wanted to put on social media, well, that was the best thing that ever happened to him. I wouldn't give her the time of day. I guarantee she's going to reach out to that guy. If I were him, I would just completely ghost her. Wouldn't give her the time of day. She deserves it. Or if he wanted to have a little fun, a little payback, the guy could invite her back, have all the fun he ever wanted with her, because at that point, she'll be begging to have him back. Then kick her ass to the curb. However, in today's world, that's risky, because then she can start making accusations and you know. But anyhow, guys, as I've said before, society is trying to make it right now that it's okay for a woman to make more than the guy and everything will be fine and she'll still love him. Or if the woman is the one with the job and he stays home with the kids. And what do you know? How many stories have I gone over? How many of you have listened? And guess what? That's not the case. She starts losing respect for him, as in this story. She doesn't seem to see him as the man she once did. Eventually, these situations end up with another guy, or the guy who is Mr. Mom, taking on the feminine role. Attraction is lost in both parties. Fighting goes on, drama, cheating, all that. So ultimately, it's always better for the guy to be doing better, making more money and all that. That keeps things at a comfort level, and everyone's happy. But it's all a bunch of nonsense in today's world, but you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Anyhow, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below and let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you were ever in a similar situation. A girl broke up with you after you thought you were in love because she was making more money or you weren't giving her all these things. And then later on, she came crying back to you, wanting to get back together when she realized you were the best thing in her life, but she kicked you to the curb. Let me know about that story. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.